They took her in the cold blue light of an alien dawn. Zyravelian was known across the outer colonies as a calm diplomat, an elegant alien woman with silver eyes and skin that shimmered like moonstone. She was unarmed when the raiders descended, laughing as they bound her hands and dragged her into their ship. To them she was valuable cargo, a bargaining chip, a royal prize to ransom or sell. They never asked why a diplomat traveled without guards. They never questioned the plain metal band on her finger. They never scanned the faint human frequency humming beneath her genetic signature. Zyra did not scream as the ship jumped to hyperspace. She only whispered one word under her breath, Elias. Far across the stars, a human man felt that word like a knife in his chest. Elias Ward had once been a soldier, once been many terrible things, but now he was only a husband waiting for his wife to return home. When the bond signal went silent, he stood up slowly, eyes dark with something older than fear. The universe had just made a mistake. The raiders kept Zyra in an energy cell aboard their flagship. They mocked her calm, mistaking it for weakness. An alien woman so delicate, so refined, surely she would break. They did not know that Zyra had been born human. They did not know she had survived Earth's wars, its firestorms, its hunger. They did not know she had chosen to become something else, to escape a broken world. Or that she had married the most dangerous human left alive. When one raider grabbed her chin and threatened to sell her to slavers, Zyra smiled. Not in defiance, but in pity. She counted the seconds. She knew Elias was coming. And she knew what that meant for everyone on this ship. The first sign was silence. Their sensors went blind. Their engines died mid-flight. A single human vessel drifted out of nothingness, scarred, ancient, and completely alone. No fleet, no warning, no demands. Then the boarding alarms screamed. Elias moved through the ship like a memory of extinction. He did not shout. He did not threaten. He simply advanced. Weapons failed near him, shields collapsed, hardened aliens fled in terror. Every step he took echoed with loss. When the raiders finally realized who they had taken, it was too late. They had not kidnapped an alien diplomat. They had kidnapped a human wife. Elias tore open the energy cell with his bare hands. Zyra stepped forward, touching his face. "You took your time," she said softly. He rested his forehead against hers, hands shaking now that the killing was done. "No one hurts you," he replied. Around them, the ship burned. The surviving raiders knelt, begging for mercy. Zyra turned to them, silver eyes cold. She had chosen peace, but peace did not mean forgiveness. Elias spared them one thing: life. He left them drifting, powerless, alive to remember what they had done. The story spread faster than light. Every pirate clan, every slaver ring, every warlord heard the same message. Do not touch the diplomat Zyravelian. Do not touch any human's family. Because humans do not negotiate when it comes to love. Zyra returned to her work among the stars. Elias returned to the quiet shadow behind her. And the galaxy learned a final lesson. The most terrifying thing in the universe is not an empire. It is a human who has already lost everything once. The galaxy did not forget what happened aboard the drifting wreck of the Raider flagship. Fear travels faster than ships, faster even than hyperspace. Whispers turned into warnings, warnings into laws unspoken yet obeyed. But fear alone never lasts. There were those who believed the story was exaggerated. Pirate lords who laughed behind sealed doors. Warlords who told themselves humans were fragile, limited, extinct in spirit if not in number. They said no single man could break fleets. They said love was a weakness. One of them was Kazan the Red, an ancient warlord whose empire of stolen worlds stretched across the dead zones. Kazan had lost sons to rebellion, planets to disease, and patience to time. When he heard the story of Zyravelian and the human who came for her, he smiled with cracked mandibles. A myth, he said. A story meant to scare children and weak traders. So he made a decision. He would take something from the human. Not Zyra, that would be foolish. But something deeper, something that would force Elia's ward into the open. Because Kazan wanted proof. Zyra sensed it before the attack came. Diplomats survive by feeling the tremor beneath the table. Trade routes went silent, allies hesitated, old enemies suddenly grew brave. Elias watched her from the doorway of their quarters, reading her expression like a battlefield map. "They are moving," he said quietly. She nodded. "Not pirates, not raiders," she replied. "This is organized. This is someone who wants you to respond." Elias closed his eyes for a moment. Once he had hoped to leave that part of himself behind. The part that answered challenges with violence. But the universe had a way of digging up grave. The first strike came on a neutral station. A medical hub where no weapons were allowed. Kazan's forces breached it under false transponder codes. They did not kill indiscriminately. They took hostages. Families, children, refugees. And then they transmitted a message. Elia's ward. Come alone, or watch them die. Zyra stood very still as the message ended. She felt Elia's tense, felt the storm gathering behind his eyes. "You will not go," she said firmly. "This is what he wants." Elias turned to her, voice low. "I am not leaving them." She stepped closer, placing her hands on his chest. "I know who you are," she said. "I married you knowing exactly what you were capable of. But you are not alone anymore." For the first time since the abduction, Elias hesitated. Not because he feared Kazan, but because he feared becoming the man he used to be. The man who measured victory in bodies. They planned together, not as soldier and diplomat, but as husband and wife. Zyra called in favors owed across a dozen systems. Elias prepared ships that had not flown in years. Old human vessels, forgotten weapons, silent allies. The kind of power that never shows up on official scans. Kazan waited, confident. His fleet surrounded the station like carrion birds. He broadcast the hostages screaming, believing pain would force Elias to rush blindly into the trap. He underestimated the one thing humans learn early. Patience. When Elias arrived, he did not come alone. But it was not an armada. Just 3 ships. Kazan laughed, his voice echoing across open channels. "This is the great human," he mocked. "So small, so late." Elias answered calmly. "You should have studied us better." Zyra's voice joined the channel. "You wanted his attention, Kazan. Now you have mine as well." That was when the trap closed. Not Kazan's trap. Theirs. Human ghost ships decloaked inside the warlord's formation. Not attacking, not firing. Just appearing. Confusion spread through Kazan's fleet as systems malfunctioned and commands failed. Elias had not come to destroy. He had come to dismantle. Boarding teams moved with surgical precision. Freeing hostages first. Always first. Zyra coordinated evacuations while Elias led the assault on Kazan's command ship. Each step brought him closer to the warlord who thought fear was power. Kazan watched in disbelief as his empire unraveled around him. "This is impossible," he snarled. "You are only one man." Elias entered the chamber, weapon lowered, eyes steady. No, he said. I am a husband. They fought. Kazan was strong, ancient, augmented by stolen technology. But strength without purpose fades quickly. Elias fought not with rage, but with clarity. Each strike measured, each movement final. When Kazan fell, broken and defeated, Elias did not kill him. Zyra arrived moments later, standing beside her husband as the warlord lay helpless. You wanted proof, she said coldly. Here it is. She ordered Kazan's crimes broadcast to every system he had ruled. Every atrocity, every lie, every stolen world. His allies abandoned him within minutes. Fear replaced loyalty. The hostages were safe. The station still stood. And the galaxy watched as Elias and Zyra walked away together. Not conquerors, not tyrants, but something far more dangerous. Partners. In the aftermath, councils debated new laws. Pirates vanished into hiding. Warlords reconsidered old habits. And somewhere in the quiet between stars, a human and an alien woman returned home. Zyra removed the diplomatic mantle that night, resting her head on Elias' shoulder. Do you regret it? She asked softly. Coming back to this life. He kissed her forehead. I regret only that the universe keeps testing how much I love you. She smiled, eyes glowing faintly in the dark. Then let it keep testing, she said. We will keep answering. And across the stars, the message remained unchanged. Take worlds, steal riches, fight your wars. But never, ever touch what a human loves. Peace never arrives all at once. It comes in fragments, in fragile agreements and quiet pauses between disasters. After Kazan's fall, the galaxy entered one of those pauses. Not because everyone suddenly believed in peace, but because everyone was afraid to move. Zyra felt it during negotiations. Delegates smiled too carefully, spoke too politely. Every word weighed, as if Elias Ward was standing just outside the chamber. Even when he was light years away. Humans cast long shadows, especially the ones who survive long enough to stop pretending they are harmless. Zyra returned to the High Conclave on Lyris Prime for the first time since the abduction. The station shimmered with crystalline towers and artificial suns. A place built to impress, to intimidate, to remind visitors who truly ruled galactic politics. She walked alone into the chamber, her steps echoing softly. No guards, no escorts. That alone unsettled them. The conclave elders studied her from their elevated seats. Some remembered Zyra as a gentle voice of compromise. Others remembered the wrecked raider ship drifting powerless through space. And all of them remembered the human. Elder Sayesh spoke first, his voice smooth and cautious. Diplomat Velian, we are pleased you accepted our summons. There are concerns about recent events. Zyra inclined her head. Concerns, she repeated. About the warlord who threatened civilians. Or about the human who stopped him. A murmur rippled through the chamber. Sayesh's eyes narrowed slightly. About balance, he replied. Power unchecked destabilizes the galaxy. Zyra smiled, but it did not reach her eyes. Balance, she said, is what failed when raiders believed they could take me without consequence. She stepped forward, voice calm but sharp. You speak of unchecked power. Yet where was your balance when slavers grew rich? When warlords ruled dead zones unchallenged? When civilians became currency? Silence followed, heavy and uncomfortable. You tolerated monsters, Zyra continued. Because they were predictable. Because they stayed in their corners. But now you are afraid. Because humans do not stay where you put them. Sayesh leaned back, mandibles clicking softly. Humans are volatile, he said. Your husband is volatile. Zyra's voice hardened. No, she said. He is precise. She activated the holoprojector at the center of the chamber. Images filled the air. Destroyed slaver hubs, liberated colonies, dismantled warlord fleets. All operations conducted with minimal casualties. All traced back to one common factor: human intervention. Elia's ward does not seek dominion, Zyra said. He seeks endings. He ends cycles you have allowed to continue for centuries. The elders shifted uneasily. Sayash spoke again. What happens, diplomat, when he decides the conclave itself is part of the problem? Zyra met his gaze without flinching. Then you should ask yourselves why that thought feels possible. Far from Lyris Prime, Elias stood on the deck of a ship that officially did not exist. The hull bore no markings, no transponder. Around him moved men and women from forgotten human colonies. Veterans, engineers, medics, survivors. People who had lost everything to the galaxy's indifference. They did not salute Elias. They nodded, because he was not their ruler. He was their line in the sand. Reports streamed in. Pirate coalitions forming in secret. Conclave factions debating preemptive containment of human assets. Whispers of something older stirring beyond mapped space. Elias listened quietly, hands clasped behind his back. The galaxy was shifting again. Fear was turning into resolve. And resolve, when misdirected, becomes war. He opened a private channel. Zyra appeared moments later, her expression weary but resolute. They are afraid, she said. Good, Elias replied. Fear makes people honest. Zyra sighed softly. They are considering sanctions, restrictions, containment. They think they can box humanity back into the margins. Elias turned toward the viewport, watching distant stars drift by. They can try, he said. The first attempt came sooner than expected. A conclave task force intercepted a human relief conv in neutral space. Officially, a customs inspection. Unofficially, a message. The conv complied. Until conclave troops attempted to seize classified cargo. Until they detained human crew members without cause. That was when Elias stopped asking. The response was not loud. No grand battles, no burning fleets. Just systems failing, supply lines collapsing. Political allies quietly withdrawing support. Conclave enforcement vessels stranded without fuel. Zyra watched the aftermath unfold with a heavy heart. This is escalation, she warned Elias. He nodded once. So is containment. The conclave issued a formal accusation. Human interference in galactic governance. Threat to long-term stability. They demanded Elias present himself for judgment. Elias laughed softly, without humor. Judged by whom, he asked. Those who let monsters thrive. Zyra stood beside him as the message ended. If this becomes war, she said quietly, there will be no winners. Elias placed his hand over hers. There never are. But there are endings. The galaxy fractured along old fault lines. Some systems openly sided with humanity. Others clung to the conclave, fearing change more than injustice. And in the void beyond charts and treaties, something watched. Ancient civilizations stirred. Observers who had survived previous galactic collapses. They had seen empires rise and fall. But humans were new. Humans did not seek immortality. They did not seek perfection. They sought meaning. And that made them unpredictable. One such observer sent a probe. It followed Elia's ship silently. recorded his meetings, his strategies, his restraint, and reached a conclusion that echoed across ancient networks. Humans were not conquerors. They were catalysts. Zyra felt it too. A pressure in the air, a sense of approaching convergence. She stood with Elias beneath an artificial sky, stars projected gently above them. "Do you ever wish we had stayed hidden?" she asked. He considered the question carefully. "Every day," he answered honestly. "And every day, I would make the same choice." She leaned into him. "Then whatever comes next, we face it together." Elias nodded, eyes fixed on the stars. "Together." And across the galaxy, as alliances hardened and ancient eyes opened, one truth became impossible to ignore. Humans were done asking for permission, and the universe would have to decide what that meant.